I apparently only own about 3 shirts. Also of interest, Universe Roadbuster, Autobot half of the Target exclusive Furby and a repaint of Cybertron Defense Hotshot. My least favorite of the Cybertron Defense upgrades, and here's why. Okay, Scattershot started out as a tiny missile tank and ended up as a big-ass monstrous missile tank with all the missiles money can buy and huge pointy teeth. Perfect sense. Excellent. Whereas Red Alert started out as an ambulance with a head obviously poking out of the roof, and later became an ICBM truck. Not as logical of a progression, but still definitely an upgrade. If I had to go to the hospital, I'd definitely prefer an ICBM truck. What if there's heavy traffic, or an entire country? But Hotshot starts out as a futuristic sports car, which is a cool thing, and later becomes an armored security vehicle, which is arguably only as cool of a thing. I guess that's an upgrade, but not irrefutably so. I mean, there's some trade-off there as well. The less something matters in the grand scheme of things, the more I care. But Caleb, you say, if you didn't like Cybertron Defense Hotshot, why did you get a figure that, for all practical intents and purposes, is Cybertron Defense Hotshot? Isn't it weird how your voice sounds just like my voice? I also like how I get partially winded just from saying a long sentence. But in regards to the question, I only disliked Cybertron Defense Hotshot in a nerdy, overly fiction-concerned way. The mold itself is actually really solid, and I'm quite happy with it as a separate character. So, time for the actual review. You know, I never thought I'd be liking a military vehicle for its cuteness, but here we are. But while being cute, it's also incredibly ugly, but like in a way that works. It's A10 ugly. Speaking of ugly, check out this paint job. It's just hideous and perfect, and I love it! It serves to further separate Roadbuster from CD Hotshot, and it's just one of my favorite things about the figure. I'm officially gushing at this point. At the risk of being premature, I think Roadbuster may have knocked Dragstrip out of first place in the category of most aesthetically appealing barf pile. And my only real qualm with the vehicle mode is that, Roadbuster is defined as an Autobot gunner. His entire purpose in life is to gun. And he does have this cannon turret up top here, and some hidden missiles and a couple more guns up front, but he isn't quite bristling with weaponry. He needs to be bristling. The transformation is simple yet satisfying and results in a really nice robot mode. Something I like that may put a lot of people off are these big, towering shoulders. They complement his overall burliness nicely, and he just looks really scrappy. Especially when standing next to his nemesis and boxmate, the much taller Dirge. However, the complaint I had with his vehicle mode still remains. He still has the cannons as well as his squillion missile pods, but it just doesn't seem like enough. And this little knife, although I do love it, just kind of adds insult to injury. Melee weapons are really rare on Transformers figures, and generally only come with the ones that are specifically described as being in-close brawlers, and sometimes not even then. But we will give a knife to Shooty McLongrange. I'm gonna slice you, and learn how to slice others! And as long as I've got him up close, take a quick gander at his noggin there. So this is supposed to be Roadbuster, but he still has Hotshot's head. If only there were some way to give him a more G1 accurate head, and maybe beef up his firepower a bit. But how? How, I dramatically ask you? Baba Ganoush. Holy crap, what just happened? Oh my, somebody got a new head, and an assortment of crazy huge weaponry, while that Ethiopian eggplant delicacy was inexplicably here for a second. Okay, I have a confession to make. You know, earlier I was all like, I wish Roadbuster had a G1 accurate head because I know stuff. But the fact of the matter is I had no idea how G1 Roadbuster looked, and only know now that he evidently looked awesome. Remember kids, masked faces are always, always better than humanoid faces. That'll actually be coming up again in a later video. So check it out. You got a big nasty particle cannon, and a smaller but still fairly wicked laser rifle. The knife remains, apparently just for purposes of taunting. Switching back to vehicle mode for a second, we run into my first quibble. The new head is bigger front to back than the old one, so you have to turn it sideways to get this front part to close, which irritates my OCD a bit. And even then, it just barely fits. You can see the seam is still open just a tad. Also, the plastic used to make the new weapons in the head is just a tiny bit cheaper than the plastic on the rest of the figure, and the colors are off about a half a shade, but that's pretty minor. Also, the particle cannon looks a lot better in vehicle mode. It's kind of gangly and cumbersome in robot mode. There's a spot for a second particle cannon on this other side, and the person or persons who made this upgrade kit give the option of just buying a particle cannon by itself. It would be nice to have a second one to kind of balance things out. The only thing that keeps me from running out and buying one right now is that with the cannon over here, you don't get to use this handy-dandy little carrying doodad for the laser rifle, which means that it ends up just laying around during vehicle times. And you know how I feel about litter. Suppose I could just keep it in the armory. Nerd! Bear. So, in conclusion, yes, I highly recommend the Natobot Roadbuster upgrade kit. Although it's less grandiose than the Superion upgrade kit, and I can find more little things wrong with it, I'm still more psyched about it anyway. So, yeah, get yours today. I got $20 for anyone who can get close enough for this knife to actually be relevant.